Dingo. Time for the news, and a little bit later on we'll be talking about we are hosting everywhere in the world, and Nairobi will be hosting the World Rangers Day. By Edward Ndiritu, who is the head of anti-poaching unit at Lewa Wildlife Conservancy. That is a conversation that you do not want to miss, and of course, Chan iko KBC more a little bit later. Moving on, President William Ruto has signed into law the conflict of interest bill that now restricts public officers from engaging in gainful employment that may result in conflict of interest. The head of state has also signed into law the social protection bill that establishes the National Board for Social Protection that will be in charge of cash transfers and transfers in kind to vulnerable persons, including the elderly and needy orphans. The board will include a chairman appointed by the president and 7 others.
Couples, there may be families who conspire to defraud our country.
Public officers will no longer engage in other gainful employment that may result in conflict of interest starting Wednesday.
We brought it to you for your assent in April this year.
This follows the presidential assent to the Conflict of Interest Bill 2025, the new law that mandates the EACC to investigate cases relating to conflict of interest, prohibits a public officer in the performance of an official duty from granting a person preferential treatment beyond what is allowed by the law, and bars a public officer from being influenced by offers outside employment in the exercise of an official duty. It also prohibits a public officer from entering into contracts for the supply of goods and services with a public officer's entity. The law further bars a public officer from acquiring an interest in a legal entity that is party to a contract with the reporting entity in which the public officer serves. It also restricts a public officer from other gainful employment which is incompatible with the official duties or results in conflict of interest. It also requires state and public officers to submit wealth declarations twice a year. EACC will be required to investigate the conflict of interest cases within 90 days. The head of state also signed into law the Social Protection Bill 2025 that seeks to cushion vulnerable persons against economic shock, including the elderly and needy orphans. The law establishes the National Board for Social Protection, consisting of a chairperson appointed by the President, the Principal Secretary for National Treasury, the Principal Secretary for Social Protection, the Principal Secretary for Children, 1 person nominated by the Council of Governors, and 4 other persons representing persons with disabilities and organizations of older members of society. The board will be in charge of cash transfers and transfers in kind, including feeding programs and psychosocial support. Giverson Minor, Lunchtime News.